However, it would not be GTAA if we did not have different videos of some of the most annoying idiots on the planet talking about Zohran. So the first clip that we have that we can comment on is from friend of the show, Bill Maher, on Club Random, recently weighed in on Zohran. I actually am kind of I was going to say a non-ironic fan of Club Random, but I guess I'm an ironic fan. But I think it's I love that show. I think that's a hilarious program.
Well, just because this is, we could be a little meta here, right? Because this is your farewells producer, and just from a production standpoint, like just one thing to think about while you watch this video, especially when they flash to Bill, is how interesting the visual choices are.
Yeah, I wonder who my counterpart is at the at Club Random.
They definitely don't have a counterpart to me.
I think it's Bill himself. All right, but let's see how the conversation goes.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, we have no argument about that. As I always say to the woke, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Do you think that there would have been? I'm curious. Do you think any Democrat? I have an opinion on this. Do you think any Democrat would have been able to beat Trump?
I am all in on Mamdani.
Wait. Okay. Well, let's stick to
fucking with it.
Like, in 2024, do you think anybody on the left could have defeated Trump? I have an answer for this, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Californian, and I'm friendly with our governor, who I also get on his case and have for being far too left. And it's becoming like we're friends, so it's kind of a kidding thing. But, like I will talk to him about the first thing when I see him. I won't even say his name. I'll just start on the potholes, or I couldn't get my solar hooked up, or all the crazy of California that he has to wear as baggage. I mean, it's a state where it's hard to buck that, but yeah, I think you could, and he's starting to. He has moved to the right, or let's say the center, on 3 big issues that I could name. I won't bore the crowd, or maybe we will. But, and this is what I've been hoping he could do. It's a lot of baggage, but I always thought this guy has what it takes to be a presidential winner, because he's just really smart. He's a great fighter. Like, he's mean, which is great. He knows how to be mean.
Like his answer to the question, which as I recall was which Democrat could have beaten Trump in 2024,
right,
was to do 5 minutes about how Gavin Newsom maybe couldn't because he has too much California baggage, but maybe one day he could, and who knows, and hear all my thoughts about Gavin Newsom.
Our boy is fried. He doesn't know what the question was.
All right.
Yeah. Also, it was mostly about. I mean, it was very Trumpian. He was like, he's a friend. He's a friend of mine. I mean, he's way too far to the left, but he's mean. He's very mean.
Well,
so I think
we like him. We like him.
We like him. Yeah.
He's a little woke.
Yeah. This is what I say to the woke is also a really good sentence.
Personally, I say quite a bit to the woke as well, but that's maybe the one thing Bill and I have in common.
Yeah, you guys
possibly from not entirely identical perspectives, but I suppose remains to be seen. What do we got?
Mamdani, Maher, is not a great harbinger for the Democratic Party. That is not a great.
Like, and can I just say real quick, like, I'm not a huge fan of like the microaggression framework as a way to analyze these things, but the way that he says Mamdani is just kind of makes my skin crawl. Like Mamdani. Yeah, it feels.
I was actually a little annoyed by how, arbitrarily, there's no good reason I should have been, but I was, by how Buttigieg was saying Netanyahu's name. It was just sort of it was a little bit too much emphasis in this way that I don't know how else to put it. People like Pete Buttigieg use when they're pronouncing foreign words and they want to sound smart.
Netanyahu, yeah. All right, let's let him have his say though. Let's let him have his say for a bit.
look.
It is a
And maybe
testament
you
to
like him. Maybe he's your boy.
it is a testament to the fact. Here's what I think. I think it's a testament to the fact that despite what in the past might have seemed like disqualifying factors, I think that people are drawn to the individual candidates who can stand out among fields of very rote, boring politicians.
You kind of look like him, you know.
I look like
I'm just
I look like
saying.
Zohran Mamdani.
I don't know how you could like this guy, but okay.
I think he is. I really don't have a whole lot of opinions on the New York mayoral race because I really haven't
Come on.
followed that race.
Oh fuck! Come on. Who are you fucking talking to here? You with your show and getting out of bed at 3 in the morning, stoned out of your mind to report. Doesn't have thoughts on the New York mayoral race, where New York City is about to nominate. Well, he's definitely going to be the Democratic candidate for mayor. Yeah. Someone who has said things like, the government should take over the means of production. I'm not going to suggest what political party of the past that is aligned with, but I think we all know it begins with a C. That's pretty crazy stuff. And the ugly streak of anti-Semitism that is going through the far left of the Democratic Party, that is going to be the downfall. I mean, I would hope that at least the Jews would get on that page.
I think, well, here's what I do think. As it relates to like Jews in New York, I think that if the Jews wanted a candidate to consolidate behind, if Mamdani was not their speed.
Yeah. So just a couple of points about this. First of all, I do want to just try to, take responsibility for my shortcomings, and as the woke say, I want to do better. I was actually drinking coffee earlier, which is not very festive for Jake's final appearance. So I do have some whiskey here, so I'm doing better, right? But secondly, when he says, "Oh, Mamdani said he wanted to socialize the means of production," you know what political party of the past that sounds like? Well, starts with C. It's like, okay. Perhaps he means the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, which was the predecessor of the NDP in Canada. That one starts with C. Or perhaps this one doesn't start with C, but it starts with L. There was the Labour Party of the UK for most of its history, was committed by Clause 4 of its party's constitution for the long-term goal of socializing the means of production. Clause 4 said the party's aim was to, quote, secure for workers by hand or brain the full fruits of their industry and the most equitable distribution thereof that may be possible on the basis of the common ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange in the best obtainable system of popular administration and control of each industry or service. That was in the original Labour Party constitution, and they only finally got rid of that in the 1990s as part of Tony Blair's sort of swing towards the center that paralleled what Bill Clinton was doing in the U.S. and involved embracing free market economics. The social democrats who governed Vienna when they built all of the sort of world-renowned amazing public housing system there, we're certainly committed to the long-term goal of socializing the means of production. I mean, it's actually, New York City is probably on a fairly short list of the biggest cities in the Western world that have never been governed by a socialist mayor, except for that's not totally true. I mean, LaGuardia is kind of socialist adjacent. I don't know. But,
Dinkins was a DSA member. I don't know about all that, though. That I literally just know that fact.
Yeah, I know he was at one point. I guess I don't know if I couldn't say for sure whether he was when he was mayor or not. But like this idea that somebody thinking the long-term sort of horizon of their politics is socializing the means of production, that like the only people who've ever thought that were like the Communist Party of the Soviet Union is really, I don't know. I mean, far be it from me to suggest that Bill Maher doesn't know very much about history, but like that's kind of incredible to me. Also, like Zohran Mamdani is leading among Jewish New York voters by like double digits right now.
I mean, you're expecting a lot from a guy who's slurring his S's because of how fucked up he is. You can really tell what point of the show. Hopefully, I'll get there later tonight. Where
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to get on Bill's level, but yeah, go on.
so you really like this guy.
Yeah.
You really like this guy.
Or at
Sorry,
least
go
try to
ahead.
get to the level of the guy who's head of ICE that shows up on Fox. That's just like drunk out of his mind the entire time. And
Yeah.
I like it.
But I mean, I think it does feel very patronizing as a Jewish New York voter to have this motherfucker say, like, I hope that Jews would at least figure out that this guy is anti-Semitic, and he just brings. I understand this is his chill show, but he just throws that charge out without any backing whatsoever, just associating with the far left. The one thing I do agree with Bill that this guy Brian Tyler Cohen, who I don't know very well, I think it's such a bullshit answer to just say, oh, I can't comment because I don't live in New York. Like, Bill is correct on an interpersonal level about whoever this guy is. That's the only thing I'll give him.
I mean, he's doing like lots of Democrats do that. Like they don't want to take an opinion one way or the other about Zohran because they don't quite like the optics of insulting the voters or saying they're not going to back the Democratic nominee, but they also can't bring themselves to say anything positive about them. So they'll just do this like, it's not. I'm not a New York City voter. Right? Why would I follow that election? I have no opinion.
I genuinely think that he actually is part of his own social media art team, and he's just too busy making anti-Trump memes, which honestly, like the past couple of months, my feed is just filled up with him, and I've actually had to like block him in particular on social media just because it's all just
Brian Tyler
anti-Trump.
Cohen,
anti-Trump meme after anti-Trump meme, and it's just
he's kind of on the resistance front. I do like Bill Maher, kind of like lightly flirting with him though. Like you do kind of look like him. Like you're looking pretty cute, while just like drunkenly taking taking a swig of whatever he's drinking. But anyway, Kale, did you have anything, or should we?
No, I mean, I think Bill Maher, his I don't know, involvement in media and in politics has entirely been in a period where there really is no left opposition. There is no left organizing. There is no like organized left. And so just doing lazy, like, oh yeah, that guy is associated with the wrong things. Like he can throw these things out. And in the past, he probably could have been on the right side of not the morally right side, but he might have gotten these things correct because, when people stick their necks out and they are, swimming up against stream against, what's politically normal, they don't make it very far. And what's unique about the Mamdani campaign, the thing that most of the mainstream media is completely ignoring, because they all want to talk about TikTok videos and, oh, Zohran's a good looking guy. He wears a suit. The thing that they don't talk about is the fact that there's 50,000 door knockers who went to tons and tons. I think it was over 2 million doors in New York City and talked to people and said, this is what the platform is. And I would imagine most of the people who voted for Mamdani don't really give a shit about his TikTok videos, or maybe didn't even see them. The fact that Zohran's a good-looking guy who's well-spoken probably wasn't an important part in them voting for him. And that's something that the media, the chatter class doesn't really understand. And it's something where Bill Maher is going to be just completely behind the curve in this particular election. And it's this one because of this unique aspect to this election that in most other normal elections, Bill can say this and it's like, yeah, I guess, that he's probably going to end up being right because the powers that be are going to, do what they always do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that Zohran is a particularly charismatic and naturally talented politician, I mean, I think helps, sort of get people's attention, right? But I think then the question is what you say to them, right? And I think that like really, obviously, like, look, I mean, he's taken he's taken a million positions on a million issues. Sometimes, sometimes of his own initiative, sometimes because like people just ask him about things that are, which countries he'd visit, after he, became mayor and weird shit like that. But I mean, like, really, at least from a distance, right, from everything I've seen, right, it seems like the man is just extraordinarily message disciplined about the bread and butter issues. I mean, this is, really more so, I think, than any other sort of, Bernie crap kind of politician I've seen since Bernie himself, right? That he just tends to sort of relentlessly talk about that. I mean, even when, Trump and all these like MAGA influencers right after he won the primary were saying just this outrageously like crazy bigoted anti-Muslim things about him. You watch like the press conference he did about that, he was like, there was like 30 seconds of, wow, that's pretty gross and racist, and then he immediately did this pivot. It's like they're trying to change the subject from affordability housing, and like he goes into his core bit, right?
Right. Yeah. He's saying they're talking about me and my identity because they want to kick you off your healthcare.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people understand that because most people are actually pretty reasonable and have good common sense. They're like, oh yeah, I see what's going on.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, and I mean, I think there's actually, there's even to credit where credit's due, right? There's an article by a past guest on the show who I obviously disagree with on many sort of broader ideological subjects, but I thought it was a good article. Sohrab
Curtis
Ahmari.
Yarvin. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, look, that makes good points from time to time. Like, yeah. So anyway, he has some really insightful things to say about Zohran's skull shape. That's he analyzed all the pictures. No, it's Sohrab Ahmari, right? Who has had an article in Unheard called Zohran Mamdani's critics are playing identity politics, where he talks about I think he does, I think he talks about this sort of relentless focus on affordability and housing, economic issues. And, he says in there, right, while he's targeted specific New York communities with videos in which he speaks Hindi and Spanish, Mamdani has usually managed to shift every discussion back to issues of class and inequality, right? So he mentioned specifically a campaign speech in which he highlighted his father's Jim Crow activism as instructive. He says, although he began with themes of racial discrimination in the past, the punchline, right, was quoting Martin Luther King saying, like, what good is it to have a right to sit on a lunch counter if you can't afford lunch, right? The punchline of the video was this takeaway that it's like, okay, having won these civil rights victories, the remaining work to be done is best done by this kind of universalistic economic agenda. And I think that there are a few people who are more focused on it, and whatever. I mean, maybe it's not. I guess maybe I'm like stretching the limits of like the framing here, because it's we're sort of using Bill Maher as an excuse to as a fun way to talk about things that actually matter, and sort of shitting on Bill Maher. So it's like it feels a little ridiculous to be like, well, what Bill Maher doesn't understand, right? It's like, well, Bill Maher doesn't understand anything. Right? That's just not interesting. But but I think that I think that it is striking how many of these clowns sort of talk about the campaign as if Mamdani had been doing something fundamentally different than what I just described.
I'm using Zohran as an excuse to talk about Bill, but I think we're almost done. So let's just see. You say all that, but let's see what Bill says.
That they made a mistake by putting Cuomo out as
they did, but that's past history. On my hate list, Trump talking about how he's going to have to go after New York City? Like, I thought the Republicans were all about states' rights and get the federal government. They're too powerful.
All right, so he basically threw in a couple pot shots and then just started pivoting to something else that he wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I don't even understand like that the pivot halfway through that sentence, right? Is like, well, that's Cuomo, that's the past, but on my list of hate. And then it's like literally he never finished the sentence because halfway through it occurred to him that like Trump said this thing that he was mad about.
Yeah, which is, we can agree that Trump sucks, but
Sure,
you know, I'm sure the candidate that he supported is the one that is conspiring and coordinating with Trump. So I don't know if there's any kind of acknowledgement of that dissonance, you know.
You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive postgames on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.